Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video we are going to look at working with numerical data. Alright, so it says SQL language supports a variety of numerical or rather numeric data types depending on the specific database system you are using. So let's look at integer, decimal, float, real. Let's see how we can work with data types, numerical data types, right? Using SQL. So let's jump right into our DBMS. Now, so first things first, let's try with our commenting. So let's just give it a name, our sheet a name, or rather, so I think we are going to, as we move on, we are going to continue using this sheet instead of me having different scripts, right? So I'll just use this commenting to separate everything, every line of code that we are going to write or query. So let's say working for this, we are working with numeric data type. Yep. So now, which brings me to data types, right? So let's say, what do we mean by data types? So we've already treated that. So we want to understand the data types our columns have, right? Whether integer, whether variable character, whether Boolean data type, and the rest, right? So there's a keyword that we use in our DBMS SQLite, right, known as pragma. So let's say let's try pragma, right? So pragma table info and then your table that you want to basically see the data types of the columns, right? So let's say I'm interested in seeing my customer, the data types in my customer table, right? The data types of our columns in my customer table. So let's run this. Let's see. Yeah. So notice that with this keyword, we've been able to get for each column in our customer table, right? Customer ID. Notice that the data type of our customer ID is an integer, right? So everything in that column are integers. That's basically what it means. And then not null is telling us that do we have a null value in this customer table? No. So when you see one, it means yes. So it's saying not null. So yes, we don't have any null value, right? But anytime you see zero, it means that there's actually a null value, right? Because the column says not null, right? So if you see zero, it says no, it is not null. We have a null value, right? So don't get confused. So when you see primary key, it means that yes, this column has a primary key, but other columns does not have a primary key because this is a customer table. So definitely, obviously, our primary key is going to be our customer ID, right? So yes, so that's basically it. So notice that we've been able to see different data types of the columns in our customer table. So I can still come here and say, let's try another table. Which other table do we have? Employee, right? Let's try employee. So if I run this, watch, it's going to still give me, you see, so we have that our employee ID column, right? We don't have a null value and also it's a primary key. The column called last name in our employee table, the data type is a variable character, right? That has a fixed length or a variable length of 20, right? We can fix anything up to 20 characters. And then we don't have null values in this column, and then it's not a primary key. So that's basically it. So you can be able to see, you can see the data types of each column in a table. That's basically what this pragma does for us, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to work with a numeric data type. And as I've been seeing it, we've checked for customer, we didn't see much integer columns, or we didn't see much integer data type or much numeric data type. We've been seeing variable character, date time, right? So that's basically what we've been seeing. Notice that we've been seeing it here too. Variable character, but basically we want to be able to work with our numeric data types. And I know that one table that we have a lot of numerical data type is our tracks table, right? So let's check our tracks table using our pragma keyword. Tracks. So tracks, I think I got it to okay, track. So it should be track. So run this. So let's see. Yes, voila. Notice that we have a lot of integer data type, right? Our track ID is an integer data type column. Our album ID is an integer data type column. Our medium, but notice that all these are all IDs, right? Key columns, right? So because this is our track table, definitely this is our primary key column. But notice that album ID is going to be a foreign key here. Media type ID is going to be a foreign key here. Genre ID is going to be foreign key here, but it is also an integer column. And then we have columns like milliseconds, byte, unique price, right, which are numeric and then has like decimal places. So we can use this, we can work with this, and then we see what we come up with, right? So that's basically what we want to do. So yes, so let me try to see, let us try to select everything from our track table, and then we see these columns live, right, instead of just having the data types here, right? We do select all from track, right? I think that's it. So let's run. So we'll be able to see all this. So notice that we have milliseconds, bytes, unique price. So in that sense, instead of we are not interested in our text data, right? We are not interested in a text data type or any column that has variable character or boolean or date type, right? We are just interested in tables that have, or rather columns that have integer, numeric, real, float, right? That's basically what we want. And we've seen them when we use that pragma. So I can just run this again. So that will call them out. So in this my select statement, instead of calling all columns, I'll come and say, okay, I just want to see a track ID, which is definitely, it has integer data type, right? Which is basically a numeric data type. Next, I want to see my album ID. Right. Next, I want to see my media type ID. So I'm basically calling out all my numeric columns. That's basically what I'm doing with the use of this data type column, right? That we got from our pragma keyword. So guys, stay with me. So media type. So basically what we are doing, we are working with numeric data types as we've basically been as we move on, we've been basically working with numeric data type, right? So media type ID. What else? I think genre ID as well. Genre ID. What else? I think we have next on our list is milliseconds. Yeah. Let's be very careful. Yeah, milliseconds. Then we have bytes. And then we also have unit price. So I can run this so that I'll just see all my columns that are integers, that are numeric, that are floats, that are real, and whatnot, right? So now, when you have columns that are numeric in nature, right, that are basically of the type of integers, real numbers, floats, and the rest, right? It's important that we use summary statistics. So let me try and it's vital we use summary statistics, right, to get insights from numeric data or data type columns. Yes. Yep. Very important. So now let's just work with some functions that help us see this, right? That helps us bring more insight from our numeric columns. Like we have average, sum, maximum, minimum. So we can just basically do something like select. So as I said, this is we working with numeric data type, right? Numeric columns. Select. You can see I want to see my max milliseconds, right? And then I also want to see the mean milliseconds as well. Also, I want to see my max. Also, I want to also see my average, right, of milliseconds. And then I want to also do the same thing for bytes, and maybe we can do the same thing for unit price, right? So this is you working with your numerical columns. You can do a lot of things with your numerical columns. You can add numerical columns together. You can multiply them together. You can get summary statistics. You can do aggregate. In fact, you can do a whole lot of things with your numerical columns. So this is one application of working with numerical columns or numerical data types. So we can also do max okay, we've done max milliseconds, right? We can say max bytes, then mean bytes, then okay, I don't want to get my average bytes, so I want to also get my average unit price. Yes, so it will not be much. Unit price. So from all the way from our track table. So let's see what would happen. See, so notice that we've been able to get summary statistics from this numerical column. So basically, we've been able to round everything into one summary figure, right? So we've been able to see that we have in our column called milliseconds, our max milliseconds was 5,286,000 milliseconds of track, right? And then the minimum milliseconds was the one that has 1,771 milliseconds, right? And then the average milliseconds was basically 393,000 milliseconds. And then our max byte was basically roughly 105, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 billion bytes. And then our average unit price is 1.05. You see how we've been able to get summary statistics based off our numerical columns, right? But now we can be able to dissect this. Notice that we just have only one record, right? Only one summary record, right? We can be able to dissect this into different let's say we want to see in terms of the media name or the track name or the track title that has this maximum seconds, right? So that's where we work with trying to join different tables to give us more insight or deeper knowledge, right? But as we move on, we understand how to work with joins, left joins, outer joins, and the rest. But for now, what I want to show you guys is with the help of group by, we can also get that, right? We can also get that granularity, that deep dive that we want, right? But not too deep. So what I want to explain is if I use group by and say, okay, instead of having just one record, right, one summary record that's giving us, okay, out of this column, it has condensed it to get the maximum milliseconds of that column, right? Why not? Can't I have this maximum milliseconds as regards media types, right? Because I realized that we also have in our track table, we have album ID, we have track ID, we have media type ID. I can come and say, okay, I want to see based on all the albums, what album ID has the maximum milliseconds, right? So I will do my group by and say, okay, group by. So let me fix my album ID here, right? And then I group by album ID. Yes. Right. So you understand what I mean by more granularity, rather. right? Because if you notice that everything we have here is just summary statistics about our column, milliseconds, byte column, and then unit price column, right? But I want to be able to see this as regards other descriptive columns, right? But in this sense, you just want to use it to see in terms of album ID, right? What album ID has the highest milliseconds and the rest? What album ID has the highest average unit price, right? So let's try and run this. You see what I mean? Exactly. So this is what I mean, right? So notice that it has been able to group it, all our summary statistics and everything that we've done, we've been able to group it as regards our album ID, right? So if I want to see the highest, the maximum album, or rather the maximum milliseconds as regards our album ID, what album has the maximum milliseconds, right? I can do grouping this and then sort it, right? Order by, what do you want to order by? Do you want to sort it by your maximum milliseconds, and do you want to sort it by in ascending order or in descending order? So you can do a lot of things, right? So I think this is one way we can work with our numerical data types. We can try to see or get insights from our numerical data types, and we'll be able to learn that we have a keyword that helps us to understand what column has what data type, right? And what table has so columns that has so data type. So that's the idea. So with this, we've been able to work with numerical columns, numerical data types, and we've been able to use group by to also dissect our summary results into more deep dive insights, right? You can also do more when you try to join different tables. As we move on, we'll get to that, right? But for now, understand that these are some of the ways you can dissect or you can work with numerical column. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.